My father chose my brother's barbecue over my graduation, so I left his name behind forever. I used to practice hearing my name called out loud. Not because I liked attention, but because I knew no one at home would ever say it with pride. Valedictorian, summa cum laude, full academic scholarship. I'd whisper the words to myself while staring at the ceiling in my childhood bedroom. The same bedroom with peeling lavender paint and a door that never quite shut all the way. The same room where my father once stood and said, "Don't get too confident. Your brother's the real star in this family." My brother Jason was good at two things, grilling meat and being born a boy. The day everything broke. Graduation day arrived warm and gold, like something out of a movie. My cap sat perfectly, my gown was pressed, my speech was folded neatly inside my hand. I had written it at 2:17 a.m. 3 weeks earlier, after finishing a shift at the diner. My father had promised he'd be there. For once. For something that was Jason's football game, or Jason's guys' night, or Jason's backyard barbecue celebration, for literally anything. That morning, I walked into the kitchen and found my dad packing a cooler. "Beer, soda, steaks." "You're dressed early," he said without looking at me. "My ceremony starts at noon." "Yeah," he replied casually. "Jason's hosting the neighborhood barbecue today. Big turnout. I told him I'd help." I waited for the rest. It didn't come. "You're still coming to graduation though, right?" He zipped the cooler shut. "I can't be in two places at once." Something inside me went very quiet. Not shattered, not dramatic. Just quiet. Like a door closing softly. The empty seat. I still scanned the crowd. Even though I knew. Row after row of cheering families. Flowers, balloons, handmade posters. I spotted Jason's girlfriend near the back, probably there to support one of her friends. But my father's seat. Empty. When my name was called, the applause was loud. But not from the one person I needed it from. I delivered my speech anyway. Voice steady, chin high. And somewhere in the middle of thanking my teachers, I stopped pretending. "I learned something important growing up," I said into the microphone. "That sometimes the people who should show up for you don't." The crowd went silent. But that doesn't mean you stop showing up for yourself. That part wasn't in the original draft. When the ceremony ended, I didn't go home. I drove. No destination, just away. The text message. At 4:36 p.m. my phone buzzed. "Dad. Barbecue went great. Hope graduation was fine." Hope it was fine. Like it was a dentist appointment. Like it wasn't the culmination of 18 years of proving I was worth noticing. I didn't reply. Instead, I pulled into the parking lot of the county courthouse. I don't know what possessed me. Maybe it wasn't revenge. Maybe it was survival. Inside, the air smelled like paper and old coffee. The woman behind the desk looked at me over her glasses. "How can I help you?" I swallowed. "I'd like to file for a legal name change." She nodded like it was ordinary. Like daughters walked in every day trying to shed their fathers. Becoming someone new. My last name had always felt heavy. It carried expectations, disappointment, comparison. "Why can't you be more like Jason? Your brother would have handled that better. Girls just don't have the same drive." I kept my first name, but I chose a new last name. One that meant resilient. I paid the fee with money I'd saved from waitressing. It felt like buying my freedom. When the paperwork was finalized 3 weeks later, I held the document in my hands and cried in my car. Not because I was sad, but because for the first time in my life, I belonged to myself. Leaving. I didn't announce it. I didn't fight. I didn't slam doors. I packed 2 suitcases, my acceptance letter, my scholarship documents, and I left for New York City 2 months later. My father didn't come to see me off. Jason was busy. Of course. Building something from nothing. College wasn't glamorous. I worked 2 jobs, shared a studio apartment with a girl who stole my oat milk, cried quietly in library bathrooms during finals week. But I thrived. Because no one knew me as Jason's sister. I interned at a tech startup my sophomore year. By senior year, I was leading a project. After graduation, they offered me a full-time position. I said yes. 5 years later, I was sitting at a glass conference table, negotiating a partnership deal worth more money than my father had made in a decade. I didn't think about him often. But sometimes, when a man in a suit underestimated me in meetings, I heard my father's voice in my head. And then I crushed them anyway. The call. It was a Tuesday. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Hello. A pause. Is this, he said my old last name. No, I replied calmly. That name doesn't exist anymore. Silence. It's Dad. The word felt foreign. I heard about you, he continued. Saw an article, CEO under 30, that's impressive. I leaned back in my chair. Why are you calling? Another pause. I didn't know you changed your name. You didn't know a lot of things. He exhaled. Jason's business didn't work out. Of course it didn't. He's struggling. I waited. I thought maybe you could help. There it was. Not pride, not apology. Utility. I already did help, I said quietly. How? I showed myself what it looks like when no one comes to your graduation. He didn't respond. For once. The reunion. 3 months later, I flew back to my hometown. Not for him. For me. The house looked smaller. The paint more faded. Jason's truck sat crooked in the driveway. My father opened the door. He looked older, softer, less certain. You look different, he said. I am. We sat at the same kitchen table, where he once told me I'd never outshine my brother. He cleared his throat. I should have come to your graduation. The words were awkward, unpracticed. But I didn't understand then. Understand what? That you were already more than enough. Something inside me shifted. Not forgiveness. Not yet. But acknowledgement. I didn't change my name to hurt you, I told him. I changed it because I was tired of carrying someone else's disappointment. His eyes watered. For the first time in my life, I saw regret. Real regret. The choice. Jason walked in halfway through. He looked at me like I was a stranger. You think you're better than us now, he muttered. I smiled calmly. No, I just stopped waiting for you to be better for me. He scoffed. But my father didn't. He looked at me like he was finally seeing the daughter he'd ignored for years. I'm proud of you, he said. And this time, I believed him. But here's the thing about pride. It doesn't erase absence. It doesn't rewrite empty chairs. It doesn't undo the girl who scanned the crowd and found no one. Why I never returned. People think revenge is loud. Explosive, petty, dramatic. Mine was. I didn't scream. I didn't sabotage. I didn't ruin anyone's life. I just removed myself. And sometimes, that's the loudest statement of all. I visit my hometown once a year now. I stay in a hotel. I sign documents with my chosen name. I built a foundation that funds scholarships for girls in small towns whose parents don't show up. Every year, I attend their graduations. I sit in the front row. And I clap louder than anyone else. Because I know what it feels like to look into a crowd and see an empty seat. The final conversation. Last year, my father came to one of those ceremonies. He didn't tell me beforehand. He just showed up. He sat quietly in the back row. When it ended, he approached me slowly. I'm trying, he said. I studied his face. I know. We're not perfect. We're not healed. But we're honest. And sometimes that's enough. The truth about leaving his name behind. I didn't change my name because I hated him. I changed it because I loved myself more. Because little girls shouldn't have to compete for attention. Because daughters shouldn't have to outperform sons just to be seen. Because graduation seats shouldn't be optional. The day he chose my brother's barbecue over my graduation. He taught me something. He taught me how to survive without applause. And in doing that, he accidentally created someone unstoppable.